I'm Charity Dunker, and welcome to the Live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, October 26, 2022. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Charity, and thank you for the good morning. Good morning to my colleague, Deputy, and good morning to the members of the media. Good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today, I would like to bring a few notices to the public. And one is some news that is not so pleasant. On Friday, the 21st of October, during a sports day event at the Rawulelage Sport Complex, a student fell from the bleachers, and that was an accident. The student was subsequently flown out to Colombia, and we have been in contact with the mother or the parents, and so far we can indicate that the student is doing well and should be released from the hospital shortly. We want to continue to pray that the student is well, and we do not want these kind of accidents or issues to happen with our students in no way or the other. I would also like to remind the people of St. Martin that on the 11th of November, even though, we switch from side to side, that on the 11th of November, we will be celebrating St. Martin's Day with the official part of the day taking part on the French side or the northern side of the island. I want to remind the people of St. Martin that don't forget to buy or remember to buy your flags, to put them on your house and also on your business and on the cars. And this St. Martin's Day, we will be doing something a little bit special, and that is recognizing the unity flag of St. Martin. So when you go to buy the St. Martin flag, please also buy a unity flag. For now, I would like to leave it here, and the other information I would like to present according to the questions posed by the media. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport. At this time, I'd like to invite the Deputy Prime Minister and also Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Durant, to address you. Good morning.
Thank you, Charity. Good morning, colleague Minister Samuel, members of the media, everyone listening and viewing, the CoM team, and a special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today, I have a few brief updates. First, I would like to start with the road repair. Some much-needed road repair was completed in the area of Coal Bay, Orange Grove Road, as well as Well Road. These repairs were done using a special concrete mix, which allows us to quickly patch the road surface. The road patching work and repairs that you have been seeing around the island are being carried out by the staff within the Ministry of Rummy. Again, I would like to extend my gratitude for the staff for their hard work that's done thus far. The Ministry is also busy finalizing the advice to begin the major road resurfacing project. This will include the resurfacing of major road stretches along with the painting of road lines. The revised advice is in the final stages, and once approved, announcements will be made in terms of advising motorists which roads they can and cannot use at a certain time. The idea is to start on a major level to deal with several roads at the same time, so we'll have a big team carrying out these works. We are also in anticipation of the much long-awaited capital expenditure funding, which is awaiting the budget amendment that is to be passed by Parliament in order for us to have the side roads as well as other roads taken care of. As we know, we operate within a budget of approximately a bit over 2 million guilders, which is very limited in terms of what we can execute, and especially now considering the price increase around the world. Nevertheless, we're doing our utmost to remedy our road network situation. I would like to talk about the CWWA High-Level Forum. Last week, I attended a high-level forum for the Caribbean ministers responsible for water, wastewater, and also waste in the Bahamas, hosted by the Caribbean Water and Wastewater Association under the theme Global Resolution to Regional Solutions. Let's End Plastic Pollution. I was honored to take part in the high-level forums where we shared regional water and wastewater strategies and received insight into new technologies and innovation. Being able to participate in this discussion opened the doors for effective collaboration within the Caribbean region to solve our common challenges. Over the conference, a constant phrase was used, which was purpose-driven. And I believe now is the time for all of us to put our words into action, as I mentioned there during their press conference. We have been making great progress as an island in our water infrastructure and water supply. The average non-revenue water is about 45% throughout the Caribbean, and St. Martin has reduced our water loss from 39% to approximately 22% over the last several years. We also have 24/7 water supply, which is a good thing comparing to other Caribbean countries, which was also formed part of the discussion. There is great interest by financiers to aid many of the islands in our region in addressing the non-revenue water loss. Addressing the non-revenue water loss directly correlates with our carbon footprint as well as fossil fuels that are used to produce water. We will continue to strive as we build on this progress to make a better future for our children and also the next generation to come after that. One of the main challenges we face on the island, which is shared within several other Caribbean nations, is proper waste disposal. As we transition into the integrated solid waste management system on St. Martin, it is with great experience to learn from our other islands within the region and their best practices and also their pitfalls. As a government, we do not need to reinvent the wheel, as I mentioned time and time again. Where things are possible, we have been allowed to move forward, and this can also be done. As part of the regional cooperation, we signed a statement of acknowledgement to further strengthen our regional collaboration and approach in addressing our shared challenges. It is always an honor to represent St. Martin, and this conference was no exception. I was able to forge relationships with the Minister of St. Kitts, also the Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, our Commissioner in Statia, as well as the host minister, Minister Sears of the Bahamas. As government and as the Minister of Rummy, I'm deeply committed to seeing our beautiful St. Martin being a clean island. This can only be achieved if we all put our heads together and be determined to be the change that we want to see on our island. We do not have to wait for regulations to force us to do what is best for ourselves, for our children and our environment. Let us reduce, reuse, recycle, and stop littering, and properly dispose of our waste. Teach our children to do the same. The change begins with me, the change begins with you, the change begins with all of us. That will be all for now, and I look forward to any questions that the members of the media might have. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister. If you've just joined us, you're watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, October 26, 2022. We'll now move on to the question and answer session. This time, I'd like to welcome and invite the Member of Media, Ms. Bibi Hart Chavez. And News, you have the floor.
Good morning, Charity. Good morning, ministers and colleagues. Minister Doran, good morning. At least I can say it's a little bit of good news hearing that the road infrastructure upgrade will begin soon. Can you tell us about when with these potholes and the upgrade will begin? Would it be ready for the high season, as we have been told that this season is expected to be vibrant? Minister, there are several complaints about streetlights not working. Will this be fixed also so that our visitors can be a little bit safe? What about the upgrade of the Prince Bernard Bridge? You said earlier that there was going to be an investigation as to what happened to the Prince Bernard Bridge prior to your taking office. Can you tell us where are you with those things?
Okay, that's like 4 questions, so I'll try to sum it up. I'll try to sum it up in that order. With respect to when the road repairs will start, as I indicated, they have started already. This has been going on for several weeks now. The works are being carried out currently within the Department of Infrastructure Management. So they have been on the road. I'm sure motorists have seen them out and about doing what they have to do. The main areas that was focused on was Cole Bay and the Simpson Bay area. Nevertheless, they continue to do the assessments to continue the works. Now, the major works with respect to the public tender that took place, this will start within the coming weeks. As I mentioned, the advice is it's in the final stages in order for commencement to begin on that point. The second question you had was the street lights. We have been receiving complaints of the street lights. As you know, we have a street light management agreement with GEBE, and there's a mechanism in place where every time we receive a complaint at the department, it is forwarded to them. They've been having some challenges. I believe it was about a month and a half ago when we had some bad weather. But in the meantime, I must say that most of those lights have been put back into service. And I urge the general public, if they see or notice any lights that are out, there are also identification numbers on those lights. And you can also always send an email to minvromi@stmartingov.org, and that will be forwarded to the relevant authorities to have that corrected. The
Prince Bernard Bridge.
Oh, okay. Regarding the Prince Bernard Bridge, we did have a tender that took place, and that is currently now in the evaluation stage in order to start the works where that is concerned. And the last part, I'd rather not comment right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Bibi, and also thank you, Deputy Prime Minister and also Minister of Romi. Before I continue forward, I'd like to also acknowledge the presence and welcome the Honorable Minister of Finance, Artwell Irian. Good morning to you, Minister. This time, moving forward, I'll give the floor to the Honorable Member of Media, Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the Honorable Minister. Question to the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance, the civil servant want to know when they will be getting the other half of their vacation pay, seeing that Christmas is soon around the corner.
Good morning, all. The civil servants got their full vacation pay, Mr. Brown, so I cannot understand the question.
They said the other half, so I don't know exactly. Yeah.
As I mentioned, Mr. Brown, the civil servants received their full vacation pay, so there's no other half to pay out.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Lyndon. Ms. Bibi Hacha of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. As we move forward, Minister Doran, can you give us an update on the demolition of the old government building and an update also on the post office parking lot, the repairs, and if this will be open for the season?
In regards to the demolition of the old government building, that is also in the evaluation stage. That's currently being evaluated in order to have it awarded to whoever wins. With respect to the parking lot, that is something that's being worked on within the Ministry of General Affairs as well as the Ministry of Romi. And yes, it is our hope that that will be completed within short, to have access to the former post office building land in order to have parking.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Bibi. Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, you have the floor.
Question to the Minister of Education. Minister of Education, in regards the subsidized school, financially, let us intuit the government is responsible, fully responsible, to make sure that these subsidized school being paid.
Thank you, Mr. Brown, for the question. Subsidized schools are school boards or schools that fall under school boards that receive a subsidy from the government in order to carry out the duties of education. And for the year, for the past 3 years, they have received their 100% subsidy. So they do receive their subsidy and it was not cut. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Lyndon. Entering our third and final round of questions, Ms. Bibi Hacha of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister Samuel, can you tell us, since the draft law in Parliament was approved for all civil servants to with the cut to remove the cuts. Have you had any meetings with the subsidized school to see if they will consider paying the teachers their vacation allowance for 2022? And Minister, can you also give us an update on the repairs of Martin Luther King School?
Thank you, Bibi, for the question. In regards to the repairs for the Martin Luther King School, I know that the bid went out, and I know that the selection was done. The last update I received is that the contracts were being vetted, and once that is done, then we would have to go over to the process of awarding the contracts. So that is how it is going. For me, really, I find it is taking too long, but some things are not in my hands because I have to also depend and wait until certain documents come to me. I cannot be involved in the bid. And so I have to wait on that. I do find it's taking long, but I do know that it will take place and that we will have a brand new school in the Dutch Quarter area when this is completed. Your other question had to do with, have I met with the teachers? I can remember.
No, I'm talking about school boards and management and if they are prepared to pay the teachers now that the draft law has been approved by Parliament.
Since the draft law has been approved by Parliament, I have not met with the school boards. It's in the planning. And when we meet, I would let you know what the updates are.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Bibi. Mr. Lyndon Brown, for your final question of BCM TV.
This question is going to go to the acting minister, seeing that Minister Omar, the acting minister of TIAT, is not here. Speaking about his trip to the Dominican Republic, as he was emphasizing agriculture and where St. Martin will have, make collaboration with the Dominican Republic to import food to St. Martin. Minister, the minister didn't spoke about prices. Over the past time, the importers are crying out of the prices for containers to St. Martin. And as we know, in the Dominican Republic, food are very reasonable. So is the government of St. Martin thinking about any reduction and importation of containers?
Thank you for the question. Just for clarification purposes, I'm not the acting minister of TIAT because the minister is on island. However, I took note of your question and I will respond. Yesterday, an article was published. Minister Otley meets with the Dutch wholesalers to discuss import options to lower food costs. So I believe that, I know that the minister is actively busy with it. And the article was released yesterday with some more details as to how they plan to tackle the high food costs.
But he didn't speak about the price, the importation. He spoke about, I saw that the release.
Lyndon.
Okay, well then I will have that question then, the specific, if you can forward your specific question, I will have that forwarded to the cabinet so that they can answer accurately.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Lyndon. Given the time, seeing that we have a lot of time, we will entertain a final round of questions. And so, Ms. Bibi Hardshaw of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. My question is to the Minister of Finance. Minister Irian, I believe there was something about some outstanding casino fees or taxes from casinos. Can you tell us what procedures have been in place to guarantee the collection of such funds?
Thank you. So your question is the guarantee, you said?
What procedures that you have in place to ensure that there's collection of the funds from the casinos?
So we started a process. So just to be very clear on this, on the budget for the last 12 years, we've always indicated that we're going to collect. So we have revenue. We indicate we're going to collect a certain amount of money from casinos, a certain amount of money from lotteries, a certain amount of money from, let's say, BTP, concession fees, AirPac, Landis, and so forth. So we have a budget that we say we're going to collect a certain amount of money, and then we allocate budget to the ministries. What we then have is we don't collect this money, and then there's run on liquidity to execute tasks. So what we have been doing for the last few years is having an inflated budget and to meet the goals, but not actually going out there and receiving and trying to receive the monies. So I decided that we're not going to do it anymore. It's either we take it off the budget or we're going to go after it. And what the process is, what we established, some casinos mentioned that they never got invoices in the past, and that's why they didn't pay, which I don't personally agree that's a valid reason, because you know you have a license, you know you're operating a business, right? Still, we took that into account. So what we did, we basically we formed a task force between the Ministry of TIAT and Finance to contact all the casinos, find out email address, proper address, even visited some locations to confirm that these were the addresses. Mentioned email address already. Also a person of contact that can actually make decisions, right? So not just a random person, that when we do contact, that this person is accountable for the information that's given. And we've also had agreement on basically a sort of a payment plan. So being up to date with current payments and paying what was owed in the past. I saw a comment somewhere concerning why casinos get away and so forth. They're not getting away this time. They've been getting away. Now we're actually getting payments in. It's something similar to what we did with the Ministry of Rummy. We formed a task force in the Ministry of Rummy to work on long lease. And to date, since the task force has been put together, we've collected 1.2 million guilders in backlog payments. Casinos, I believe we collected about a little under 500,000. So it shows that the efforts that we made are paying off. When it comes to long lease and so forth, is also just, for example, communication. Some individuals didn't get certain things, some decisions were not made properly in the past, and you need to have legal on deck also to help with these situations. So I'm very happy with the progress we are making, and I believe you're going to see a lot more income coming in next year through the task force, a different task force.
All right, thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Bibi. Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN News, you have the floor.
Question to the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance, some elderly are concerned and they're saying that they should be exempted from paying tax. Minister, I want you to be specific and categorize. They are emphasizing very much the elderly. Why should we are retire? Why should we have to pay tax from our pension? So I need you to make this clear. Why, and categorize so that the people can understand exactly the process.
So I don't really understand the part about categorizing, but in regards to pension, basically the taxes you are paying on your pension is the portion that was withheld from your salary that was not taxed before. So the money you're getting now is then being taxed when it comes to pension. That's just the rule of law. But in regards to categorizing, I don't think there's a category for that.
Thank you, Minister, and also thank you, Lyndon. Before we end this morning's Live Council Ministers press briefing, I'd like to re-invite the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister Duran to address you.
Thank you, Charity. I missed in my notes to mention that the Ministry of Rummy is currently hosting an integrity informative session. The goal of the session is to bring awareness about the importance of integrity in the workplace, communicate our values, test our knowledge on integrity, and also find solutions in terms of everyday scenarios that staff may face. The Integrity Chamber is playing a key role in that, in the session and assisting the ministry. And I look forward to informing the general public once this is completed next week as to the status and some of the feedback that I was able to receive. I just wanted to mention that. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister Duran, for your closing statements as well. To the honorable ministers of the council, members of the media, and also radio listeners, online viewers, this brings us to the end of the Live Council Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, October 26, 2022. For rebroadcast, be sure to tune into St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM and also Tel TV Plus, the official Facebook page, Government of St. Martin, YouTube channel, Government of St. Martin. Also log on to those other media sites. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Charity Dunker. Thank you very much for tuning in.